Do you think you're going to do better than today? You don't know? Okay, I hope so. So what are you currently studying? That's finance. Do you want to get into business? By the grace, okay, do you know what kind of business you want to get into? Okay, so you just like money. Oh, she's good. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, so I always play that game, and the second person always lasts longer than the first person. Not necessarily because they're better, but because they've learned from their mistakes. Okay, so the reason I'm here, guys, is so you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, I've made so many mistakes that I've learned from. Hopefully, if I tell you my mistakes, you can also learn from them, and you don't have to go through the pitfalls that I did. Okay, so even though it sounds like I was born and bred in London, that wasn't the case. Some clues on the board. If anyone guesses where I grew up? Italy, exactly. What gave it away? Pasta, the hand, and tiramisu. Okay, so I grew up in Milan, Italy, and I'm actually one of three. Okay, I'm the firstborn. And if you are also firstborn in the building, you probably know how it feels. Okay, I felt an extra sense of responsibility. I felt like I needed to make my family proud. I'm the oldest. Sometimes even playing football. When I play football, my dad would see that I would play well, and he'd be happy. Or sometimes I'd score a goal playing football, and my dad wouldn't watch, and I'd get really annoyed. Because I'm trying to do it to impress him, but he wasn't looking. So when you're young, one of the only vehicles you can use to impress your parents or to do well is school. And at school, I wasn't one of the super academic ones, and I wasn't one of the super destructive kids. I was somewhere in the middle. The ones that sometimes the teachers would forget about. Okay, that was me. And even though at school I tried, of course my experience was very different. Growing up in Milan in Italy, I was the only kid of color in my whole school. And actually the only black kid in my whole area. And that did affect my confidence quite a lot. The only times I ever saw people that looked like me were at home, mum and dad, on Sunday in church, and on TV, and I'd always see this guy, 50 Cent. And it's funny because I actually ended up looking up to 50 Cent, not because of anything, but because there's someone who kind of looks like me, who I kind of related to, who looked successful. And the encouragement is that you guys are at university, you're working here, maybe studying here. I guarantee there are people in your community that are looking at you to see, is it possible? So my time at school was interesting. Of course, I'd get picked on. I didn't look like anyone, and sometimes I'd go home quite upset. Imagine a kid that doesn't look like anyone. And my mum would tell me these words that have stuck with me for a really long time. She said, the world is going to make you feel like different is bad, but different isn't bad. Just keep moving forwards towards your goals. Keep moving forwards towards your dreams. So I did. There was one day in school, should I say, one evening that I hated. Okay, I didn't look forward to it when it came up. I was dreading it. Can anyone guess what evening it was? How did you know? It felt like the teachers had a script. Okay, I want to see if you guys have heard this one before. They would say, look, your son, he's great. I think he has a lot of potential. Just that in class, sometimes around his friends, he get a little bit, not noisy, he gets a little bit distracted. And it would always be the same thing over and over again. Being the firstborn, my mum would sometimes feel like I just wasn't doing well. Once she left, parents even in tears. And just imagine how that made me feel. Like I said, firstborn, I felt extra sense of responsibility. However, there was this day that I really enjoyed in school. I ended up being an athlete, so you can guess it was. What's that? So this is a video from one of my early sports days. I'm wearing a red vest and white shorts. And sports day was awesome. If you're a sporty person, you will know that is our time to shine. So this is me at one of the early sports days. As you can tell, video quality wasn't it back then. So me doing my thing. And that was sports day, which is cool. This happened on a regular basis, and this actually helped boost my confidence. How it works in Milan, if you do well on sports day in your school, you race other kids that did well on their sports days, and then you kind of find out who the fastest kid in Milan was. And I actually won that title. I wasn't training for athletics or anything, but it was really good because it helped my confidence. And the main thing is that people around my area started to recognize me as the fast kid, rather than just the black kid that doesn't look like us. And that was something that I felt really helped me. It really helped build my confidence. That was all until this day. Now, it was a summer's day. Summer holidays in Italy are very different. You get 3 months off. So you get August, you get July, you get June. In school here, you just get 6 weeks. A normal summer's day, I went to play at the park as you do. And I saw a group of guys playing football, really excited. I thought, yes, this is good. I counted out the numbers and they had odd numbers, so I could even out the teams. So as you do, I went up to the kids and said, guys, can I play with you? And no one answered. So I went up to one of the biggest kids and I said, I'm the fast kid, I'm sure you've heard of me. Why can I play with you? And he said, look, you can't play with us. I said, why? He said, we don't play football with black people. I was 9 years old, my heart sank, and I went home in tears. My mum told me what she usually tells me. The world is going to make you feel like being different is bad. Ignore them. Just keep moving forwards towards your goals and keep moving forwards towards your dreams. So I did. Shortly after, my dad lost his job in Italy, and we thought, it's time for a change. My dad wanted to move to Amsterdam, my mum wanted to move to London. They would argue about this every single day, without fail. And one day, my dad taught me my first lesson. He said, happy wife? And that's why we moved to London. Mum won the fight. So we moved to London. Bear in mind, when you're in Italy, London is advertised as this, what you see, Tower Bridge, London Bridge, Buckingham Palace, Oxford Street, the nice parts. Okay. So we got off the plane at Stansted Airport and got on a coach to Victoria. And I was very happy. I said, wow, this is way better than Italy. And my dad said, yeah, we're not home just yet. Okay, we just got to get the tube for a couple stops. And I said, yeah, it's all right, we're in central London. Once we got off the tube, it was a different atmosphere. Okay, it didn't feel like Victoria, and I said, where are we? I looked back, I saw a big sign that said, Brixton. Oh, whoa, whoa. If you've been there, guys, you know that's not what I was expecting. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have been to Brixton before, but it was a whirlwind, okay? Bear in mind, I moved here, 12 years old, and I didn't speak any English. Okay, so English sounded like gibberish. Not only did I have to learn English, I had to learn slang, because everyone talks slang. Now, can anyone guess, I'm not sure if you've been to Brixton before, the first shop that caught my eye when I got to Brixton, I can tell you it was a food shop. It's got to do with food. Chicken? Ah! Okay, see? How did you know? This is the first shop that caught my eye, because I thought it was really weird that there was like an old man smiling outside the chicken shop. Okay, so I didn't go there for a few years. And I realized I was missing out a bit after. Okay, so I moved to Brixton, guys, and it was a real adaptation period. I'll be honest. I moved here, I'm a teenager, I'm in year 7. Within the first 2 months of moving here, I actually got robbed twice. Okay, once in Brixton, once in Elephant and Castle. And I went home and said, Mum, I want to go back to Italy. She said, no, it's not going to happen. Year 7, year 8, things like these kept happening. I remember when year 9 came along, I thought, maybe Mum was wrong. I know she always said, I should be different, I should be myself, but maybe I need to adapt. Okay, and I said, maybe this is just how London is. So I remember that one day, and I plotted it. I said, you know what? I'm tired of getting robbed. Today, I'm robbing someone. So guys, I did it. It was a weekend, it was a Saturday night, sat in the park, saw someone, and I robbed their phone. And I remember feeling really quite disgusted with myself, but I thought, this is just what I need to do. Similar time, I was hanging around with people outside of school, and I remember a few years after I started, one of the teachers said to me, look, I don't even recognize you anymore. I didn't know what they meant. Around the same time, Mum was pregnant. So it was me and Michelle, my little sister. She's about 6 years younger than me, and Mum was pregnant for my baby sister. As Mum went into labor, the doctor said, look, things are very complicated. Looks like either our mum or the baby were not going to survive. Fortunately, they both did. But Alberta, my baby sister, ended up growing with a few disabilities, which meant that Mum had to look after her full time. So Dad had to work all the time. Michelle, my other sister, was now my responsibility. Again, if you're a firstborn, you know what it's like. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, taking her to school, picking her up. I'm now babysitter. There was one party that everyone was going to, and I couldn't go to because I had to look after Michelle. And I was fuming. But actually, at that party, one of my best friends almost lost his life. And I remember thinking, damn, I didn't go because of circumstances. And I remember at that point, I had to really ask myself that question. I had to really remember, all those things that Mum said. The fact that I was different isn't bad. And the world made me feel like being different was something that wasn't good. But actually, I just needed to keep moving forwards. And I felt like I was a bit of a crossroads. I remember that every action had a reaction. There's a consequence for everything. So I thought, okay, what am I really going to do? What road am I going to go down? And this is what I decided to do. This is something I encourage all of you to do. I decided to go on a self-discovery journey, understanding who am I? What do I even like? Why am I like this? You guys are all at university studying. Cool. Are these the subjects you wanted to study? Or did someone else want to study? Is it pressure from your parents? Things that you like. Do you like them because you like them? Or because your friends like them? So you kind of just fell into it as well. I did a self-audit and asked myself, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And at that point, I really stopped doing something that was eating up. Stopped comparing myself to it. The truth is, in Italy, I was trying to be like those Italian kids, but I wasn't. I was an African kid born in Italy. When I moved to London, I was trying to be like the Brixton kids, but I wasn't. I was just a nice kid trying to be bad. So I thought, what am I and who am I? And only then I realized that there was something that I was good at all along, which I showed you guys from before, and that was athletics. So I thought, let me see what I can do. I've always been the fastest, as far as I know. Let's see where I can take this. So I started athletics, and it was a good start. When I first started, it was me running for Lambeth at London Youth Games. I ran a relay, 4th leg, and we actually won it. It was the first time Lambeth won London Youth Games. So this poster was actually in Lambeth Town Hall, which is in Brixton. So funnily enough, the place I hated so much had a poster of me. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. My mum would pretend to have appointments at the council just so she could go there and check if the picture was still up. And I thought, that's quite nice. Shortly after, I participated at the English Schools Championship. Now, this is like the Olympics for 16-year-olds. Okay, so this is my first year of athletics. I was 15. This is me running the first leg for London in a black vest. They'll show another replay. And it's my first time running on TV. Yeah, so this is on Sky Sports. I was about 15 years old, first year into athletics. So we are in lane 6 in a black vest. Now, I really was desperate to run the 4th leg, because I just know that 4th leg usually gets the most TV time, right? And I wanted that TV time. But unfortunately, they gave the 4th leg to this guy, who ended up doing really well, to be fair to him. Once I saw that we won the race, I said, the cameras are going to be on him, so if I run to him, I get some cameras. So in a moment, you're going to see me running towards him. That's me. I'm like, look, I need that camera time, man. I didn't come to Newcastle for no reason. So I run towards him. I was like, yeah, I pretend to give him a little hug. I'm like, yes. I'm like, where's the camera? Where's the camera? Yeah, number 1. So this is me at 15, just started. My vest was too big for me. My chain was swinging. And yeah, I kind of forgot that relay's about handing over the baton. So, as you can see, I've run straight into him. I'm like, oh crap. And then I've given him the baton. And we ended up doing well, which went really well. Shortly after, I got the chance to run in America. That also went really well. I won the race. And I remember sitting in Florida under one of these palm trees thinking, this is a very surreal moment. If I never had that self-audit, if I never asked myself, what am I good at, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, I would still be in the streets of Brixton right now. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. As I was having these thoughts, one of the fastest men in history, second fastest man in history, Tyson Gay, behind Usain Bolt, actually approached me and he said, look, how long are you in Florida for? I want to do some training with you. You've got some potential. Again, a very surreal moment. So I ended up staying in Florida for a couple more weeks and training with Tyson Gay. Now, at this point, everyone I did English schools with that you saw had signed pro. I got with Adidas, Puma, New Balance. They signed their first pro deal. So I was obviously next up. So I waited and I kept training. After 6th form, I didn't go straight into university. I took a gap year to just train. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And after 6 years of starting athletics, I still hadn't signed pro. I'm from a Ghanaian household. So my dad at this point is like to me, look, you've tried, yeah, just go and study. Just go and read your books, study accounting, you're always good at maths. And I thought, no, I'm going to do this. My journey's different from other people, but that's fine. Different isn't bad. I'm going to keep moving forwards. All right, so this is me and Ninja Warrior. Now, before you get on the show, ITV will ask you certain questions that you need to fill the criteria. And one question was, so Frederick, can you swim? You obviously need to be able to swim. And I said, yeah, of course. But I lied. Okay, I can't actually swim. So I actually hurt my ankle here, start limping. My coach was fuming. He didn't know I went on the show. Get the audience to clap. Rochelle, give us a clap. Thank you. Okay. Now. How? At this point, I knew I messed up. Live television. I can't swim. I'm swinging on this thing. I don't know how deep the water is, guys. So I'm just swinging, okay? I don't know what's gonna happen, right? But I know I'm not gonna make it. My arms are burning, okay? I know I have one more swing. Yeah. Luckily, the water wasn't too deep. I survived, I didn't die. So. But that was cool, you know, it was lots of fun, and I got loads of different opportunities like this one. Eventually, focusing on athletics, I was able to participate in the national championship. This is the year before the Olympics. This is 2019. To give you context, to get to the Olympics, you need to qualify to qualify. So the top 16 in the country get to go to the national champs. You go through heats, semi-finals, and finals, and the top 3 in the finals make sure they go to the Olympics. So I've gone to nationals, I've gone through the heats, semi-finals, and I've made the final for the first time ever. Okay, this gentleman here is 5-time champion. I wasn't going to beat him, but there were actually 5 of us in this race. Before this race, I was incredibly nervous because it's the year before the Olympics and it's my first time on the stage. Friends and family are watching. And I remember thinking, you know what? Even if I come last, I've done all right. I'm in the top 5 in the country, so that's not too bad. So I'm obviously here in white vest. This is 400 meters indoors, so it's 2 laps of the track. Okay. My weakness has always been my start. So my coach told me, work on your start, but don't burn your energy at the start. Okay, you need to make sure you conserve energy. 400 meters is a long way. So I remember getting ready for this race and I was just thinking about family. I was thinking about the journey I had been on and thinking, I'm just going to try my best. Okay? Just like your exams, you can only try your best, all right? Well, let's see what happens. So as you can tell, I didn't listen to coach. It's 2 laps though. So at this point, I'm already tired. Okay. I've got another lap to go, I'm tired. But I'm in a good position. And I thought, second place isn't actually bad. It means I'm the 2nd fastest in the country. For the man in red trying to run up on me, and I thought, nah, I've come too far to just be mediocre, okay? To just be a number. Keep moving forwards towards my goals. Keep moving forwards towards my dreams. Keep moving forwards. And ended up winning. He fell, which I thought was pretty funny. and I was national champion, okay, which was great. The year before the Olympic year. And the Olympic committee came to me after the race and said, look, you've put yourself in a great position. Tokyo next year, you know, it's time to work. So that winter, I trained harder than ever. I was in great shape. By the time 2020 came, I was in much better shape than in 2019. Because I said, I don't just want to go to the Olympics, I want to do really well. I want to push myself and see how far I can come against the Jamaicans, the Americans, and the British athletes that I train with on a regular basis. So as races started to come up in 2020, what happened in 2020? COVID. Okay? So the Olympics got postponed. So, okay, they're not cancelled, okay? Postponed for a year. And I thought, okay, so I've got 1 more year to just keep training, to keep grinding. It's all good. I actually got COVID. So I couldn't train for 6 months. My coach said, don't rush it, you'll be okay. Just recover, come back. Once I came back, I actually got an injury because I used to overwork. And when the Olympic trials came around in 2021, same competition, rather than being ranked 1st in the country, I was ranked 6th. And only the top 3 got to go, so I actually didn't get the opportunity to go. On top of that, one of my good friends and teammates, Marcel Jacobs, not only went to his first Olympics, but he actually won the 100 meter. Okay, he's the current Olympic champion. And of course I was happy for him, because he's a friend of mine, but part of me felt bitter, because I didn't get the opportunity to go and test myself. And that really hit me hard. So next year, I get another opportunity, okay, to make my dream come true, to be an Olympian. So the journey is still an ongoing one. And I need to take my own advice. I need to keep moving forwards. So many things have happened since then, and my performances since COVID haven't been as good. But I'm working super hard to climb up the ranks and hopefully make the games. Okay, so it's been a super roller coaster ride. If we had more time, I would have told you to break out and speak and talk about what you've learned so far. But we're going to move on to the last part of the talk, which is my time in business. So time in business has taught me that failure is feedback. Okay, my first business was a cleaning service that started at uni. So I actually used to live not too far from here with 5 other people. Okay, so as you guys know, student life gets a little bit messy, right? When people don't tidy up after each other, the communal areas get nasty. And I remember being tired of just cleaning and cleaning. So I thought, you know what? Let's just get a cleaning company to come and sort out the house. And at the time, we couldn't find one. And we thought, there are so many students, there isn't a cleaning service, maybe we can just start a cleaning service, which we did. So me and one of my best friends at the time actually started a cleaning service at university, which wasn't bad. Within the first couple of weeks, we started to get clients, and things started to go well. Now, this is our first business. We're very naive. I remember at points checking the business bank account, and it seemed like money was just going missing. I thought, it's not me taking it, so it must be him. And I remember I had 3 choices. I could either confront him about it, leave it, because he was a good friend of mine, or be petty and do the same thing as him. And I thought, which one should I pick? Me being young and naive, I did the same thing he was doing. Okay, just like taking money from the business, just like him. Within a couple months, we had a huge row, business gone, friendship almost gone. We didn't speak for a really long time after that. And that was a really important lesson, that going into business, you have to be transparent. And the thing is, I was too scared of having that uncomfortable conversation. Okay, I really encourage you guys, whether it's business, whether it's in a relationship, in life, there's going to be times where you're going to need to have an uncomfortable conversation and you're not going to want to have it. From my experience, not having that conversation made things worse. So with all of those lessons that I learned, I started my second business, property management company. Started it with my cousin. We started it because we heard there was loads of money in property. The problem was we didn't know much about property. We weren't very interested in property. So as you could tell, it didn't go very well. That business lasted 3 months. Okay, we were doing viewings all over the place, trying to get people into houses, and it just didn't work. And again, huge lesson. To not just go into things because there's money in it. Just because person A is making money this way, doesn't mean that's the way you should do it. One of my mentors told me, work with what you have, what you currently have. And I thought, I was going into quite a few primary schools just to speak for free, and I have athletics. So I thought, why not start an athletics club for primary school kids? And that's how Believe in Greatness started. Just an athletics club for primary school kids. And I was training one kid for 3 months. Eventually, we started having loads of different schools, having it as an after-school club within schools. And it was a great model because it was free for the schools. We didn't pay for the venue, parents would pay us. And now we have over 15 schools all over South London, which is great. And it's growing. That's how Believe in Greatness started. Now, once I finished university, didn't go to the Olympics, I actually got a good opportunity to go to America. 4 different universities got in touch with me saying, look, you've already done an undergrad, you've done all right. How about you do a master's here and you can compete in the NCAA, which is the college scene over there where loads of Olympians have come from. And I had 4 different offers. I spoke to all of them and I thought, okay, this is good. I think I'm going to pick one of the options. The option that I picked was Florida. So, plan to go to Florida, just about to sell my car, pack my bags, said my goodbyes. And I was going out on a Tuesday evening. The week before, I got a phone call from the Florida coach telling me, unfortunately, you can't make it through because the budgets aren't the same. Before COVID, we used to sell out the stadiums, loads of sports events, and with that money, we'd use it to invest into scholarships. But now we're doing these sporting events right behind closed doors, so people can't come and watch us. As a result, we haven't got as much money. So I thought, okay, I have 3 different offers. And they all told me the same thing. So I realized that my NCAA dream was done. Shortly after, my agent got in touch with me. And I said, okay, have you got any good news? And he said, post-COVID, Nike is dropping 70% of their athletes in track and field. Unfortunately, you're in that 70%. So as of tomorrow, you are no longer a Nike athlete. I thought, what? Again, hit me like a ton of bricks. From going to America as a sponsored athlete to not going to America and being dropped. But I thought, surely I'll be okay. Within a few months, I realized that my expenses, you guys are in the business school, so you know my expenses were very high and the income wasn't matching. So I had to just get a job. Okay, I got a job at Sainsbury's as a delivery driver. Nothing wrong with working at Sainsbury's, but remember a few moments before that, I was going to America, I'm on a pro contract. And at Sainsbury's, again, I asked myself those questions. What am I good at? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And I realized, speaking. Okay, I love speaking. I used to go into primary school to speak to kids, but I was doing it for free. And I remember telling my friends, I want to get into professional speaking. I want to get paid to speak. And they told me, you are crazy. Who gets paid to speak? And I thought, I'm going to give it a go. So I started going into schools, videoing myself, putting it on social media. Other schools would see it. Going into more schools, started charging £50 an hour. And then I charged a little bit more. Then I charged a little bit more. And over time, I actually spoke in over 200 schools to over 100,000 students. Now, this was amazing, and I thought, okay, it's pretty cool, but how far can I really take this? An American speaking agency called All American Speakers actually got in touch with me saying, look, we see the hard work you're doing in the UK, we want you to do the same thing in America. And I'm actually now in their books, and this is my profile on their website. Now, I'm showing you this for inspiration. I was supposed to go to America for athletics, and I didn't. But I didn't give up, and I kept moving forwards. And now I do go to America for something completely different, and I go there for speaking. For something that someone told me it's impossible, it can't happen. But now for an hour talk or 45 minutes like I'm doing to you guys, the fee's between $5,000 to $10,000. And I show you this to show you that it's possible. You all have dreams, you all have goals, and there will be people that tell you that can't happen because they've never seen it. So I'm here to hopefully show you that these things are possible and they can, in fact, happen. Now, one of the things that separated me from my peers that haven't done as well is managing my time. I said I was at university, I was training full time, and it was tough. Time is one of the only things that you will not get back. So how you invest your time is super important. The people you invest your time in, super important, okay? So, to wrap up, if this is the only thing you remember from this speech, these are the 3 things I want you to remember. Number 1, self-motivation. So many points in my life, whether it was business, whether it was sports, a lot of people didn't believe in me. And even my own father said, you know what, this athletics thing, put it to the side. I had to believe in myself. So it's no good looking for external validation, waiting for other people to push you. You need to believe it. Number 2, you have to keep moving forwards. You have to keep evolving, becoming a better version of yourself on a continual basis. When things happen to you, failure is feedback. What can you learn from it, and how can you improve it? And number 3, it's okay to be different. In fact, we are all different. Identical twins, they're different. And for me, it wasn't until I realized who I was, I asked myself who I was, and I embraced that. Only then did I truly start making the strides that I wanted to make. So these are 3 things I encourage you guys to do going forward. The one in the middle is arguably the most important thing, because as you can tell from my journey, and I'm sure from your journey, things will never go like this. They'll go up and down. So when things are good and they're up, don't get complacent. Don't think you're on top of the world, because life can humble you. And when things are low, understand that it's just a period in time. Things can get better if you keep moving forward. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you so much for listening to me, guys. Thank you. Awesome. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to either come to me afterwards, or you can kind of put your hand up and speak on it. I'm happy to help you guys. Yes. Cool. Go ahead.
Question.
Mr. Rex.
Yes, sir. Quick one. So, what was your original and continuous drive to do what you did?
Very, very good question. What was my original and continuous drive? So for me, the original drive was family. So, like I said, the family was my turning point. Going through that situation at home, seeing mum struggle with a baby sister who had quite a few disabilities. That was my why. All of a sudden, what changed that I had a why? I had a reason for wanting to strive to be better. So I think I encourage all of you guys to figure out what your why is. What is the reason why you want to do what you want to do? Because there are going to be days that you don't want to do it, you don't want to wake up, you don't want to go the extra mile, but having a why will give you the fuel to do that. So that's what I would say. Thank you. Very good question. Yes?
What was the biggest lesson you learned when you lost a race?
Biggest lesson I learned when I lost the race? Very, very good question. I think the biggest lesson I learned in athletics is that no one cared as much as I thought they did. What I mean by that is that in athletics, usually you're racing a number of people. You're going to lose a lot more races than you win. And I tied my identity to my performances. So when I didn't do well, I thought, okay, I'm a terrible person. Okay, I've run a terrible race on TV. Everyone thinks I'm an idiot. Everyone thinks I'm terrible. Everyone's going to judge me. But actually, no one cared. What happened is that I used to think those things of myself, and as a result, I thought everyone else was judging me. So what was really important for me to understand is that 9 times out of 10, people don't actually care as much as you think they do. And you can either think that as a positive or a negative. I see it as, look, people don't actually care. The fear of judgment isn't actually real. And the fear of judgment is what stops most people from actually taking those strides into life, right? So as a public speaking coach, people say public speaking is the #1 fear, but actually it isn't. It's the fear of judgment. So the fear of public perception. So once I realized that the fear of judgment was a myth, I was judging myself, that's what actually helped. So losing those races, initially beating myself up as a human, I realized that I'm not my performances. Same thing with work, like you are not your work. If things don't go well at work, doesn't mean you're a terrible person, it just means things are not going well at work. So, a long-winded way to answer that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good question. Yes?
What would you tell anyone wanting to start their own business?
What would I tell anyone I want to start their own business? Very, very good question. So I would say my advice is to learn from other people's mistakes. So similarly to like me coming here. So to either find someone in that industry who has done it already, that can mentor you. That way you can learn from all of the mistakes they made and leapfrog. So another big reason why only a couple years into speaking I've done really well is because I network with a lot of different speakers that have been speaking for 20 years and they just give me game. So whatever industry you want to get in terms of business, or in terms of even a career, find someone who has already done it, ask them what mistakes they made or what they wish they knew when they first started. And those are really good questions to ask where you can kind of fast track your progress. Very good question. Yes?
How important is family and friends in terms of moving forward?
How important are family and friends in terms of moving forwards? It's a very, very good question. I think they are pivotal. I think they are your rock. Especially when, you know, God willing, you start doing things and you start doing really well. You might be in a situation where you can lose yourself, where you get new friends and you can't actually figure out who's here for you, who's here to use you. And those people that are there from day one, your family, your real friends, they are the people that will actually keep you grounded. And also, they can be your why. So for me, my family is my why. So my family is the reason why I keep moving forward, even in times when I don't want to. So I think, but having said that, to be fair, we should also, one mistake that I also made for a long time, I was attached to like my day one friends. And not all your day one friends are going to be the people that are going to be with you when you do well, when you be successful. So actually being strong enough to set those boundaries with the day one friends or with family is also really important. So finding a balance. Yes, I
So
understand.
you do represent 30% of students who pick accounting. What I mean by that, it's obvious that from your position, you didn't go into accounting.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, from your university experience, what did you benefit from that to enable to be the person you are today? And is there anything you can advise students who are thinking the same?
Very, very good question. So, like I said, I studied accounting, but I didn't necessarily go into accounting. The thing though is that accounting did teach me some very important lessons. Because when I'm talking about having that self-audit, right? In accounting, you probably audit a company. You know what I'm saying? That's SWOT analysis. You usually do that for a company, right? So these are things that I did for myself. Like my strengths, my weaknesses, opportunities to grow, what are the threats in my life. When I'm looking about, you know, having a balance. You know, I'm not balancing the books, but I'm balancing my life. You know, in terms of my expenses, my incomings, the friends, that are new friends, old friends. So I think these are transferable skills that, you know, as I was studying accounting, I thought, okay, these are just trivial things that happen in business, but these are lessons that we can take in life that I did, and that really helped me. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask something similar to what you're asking.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask, how would you balance your engagement on campus? Because we were to juggle between the sport and also the campus. How do you able to balance it?
How was I able to balance time on campus, outside of campus? Time management was the main thing, honestly. And it was, I mean, as students, life gets a little bit crazy. Like, you know, your night starts at like 11 p.m. You wake up at crazy times in the morning, which is perfectly fine. We're all young, we're at university, but I think it's about having the balance. So for me, it was just understanding myself and understanding that, okay, on certain days, certain hours, I just have to dedicate to this, to studies. Because beyond that, I'm going to be training. Beyond that, my body's going to be recovering, so I probably can't be in the LRC for late evening. So it's just about knowing yourself. Again, not necessarily comparing your timetable to other people's timetable, and just understanding this is what works best for me. So I know that working in the mornings just works best for me. I'm not an evening person, I'm a morning person. So it would just be early mornings, putting in the work. If my friends are at the LRC in the evening, I know I'm just going to go and mess around. So I still went sometimes, but I didn't do any work. But I didn't lie to myself and say I'm going to work in the evening, because I know it didn't work. Right? So I think knowing yourself and time management are the things that help me balance within uni and outside of uni. Good question. Yes? Any questions? I think you take like a couple more. Yeah?
Another thing I would like to know,
Yeah.
you've been very successful in the UK. Are you thinking about other countries other than UK and America? Have you oriented to America as well?
Very good question. Am I thinking of other countries outside of the UK? Definitely. So, like I mentioned before, I'm originally from Ghana. So I've set up a charity in Ghana, an organization to help young people in Ghana. So how that's going to work is that I go into loads of schools to deliver these keynotes. And schools, maybe even universities, often get new equipment. In schools, people get new uniforms every day, new books. So these are things that before maybe schools made a start, and I would like to give them to kids in Ghana for other opportunities. And in terms of business, definitely America is a market that I want to really crack, because I know it's the fees there are differently. There people actually look for coaches on a regular basis. And generally, I'm not limiting myself to the UK. But also, I didn't want to rush the move. I want to establish myself in the UK first before making the move. So, very, very good question. Yes?
Well, with our students on the opposite end of the engagement spectrum, we've got students who are very eager, in my opinion, to make money fast, to get success very quickly. And sometimes they use the degree as a vehicle. What's interesting from your journey is there's an establishment of a long-term position for success. So there's a two-part question. What is your end goal where you think, okay, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish in my career? Did you start off with university thinking you could make money quick, looking at the businesses that you had? And did you transition into, I said two-part list, did you transition into a thought process where you actually matured in what success meant and how long it would take?
Definitely. So the first question was, what was the first one?
In fact, it's so long even I'm thinking about it again.
Yeah.
So I said, so students are thinking to make money quick.
Yeah.
Are you thinking like that as well?
100%. So one of the things that humbled me really early on was understanding that in life and business, the longer term you think, the better. So if you think about investing, usually the best investments are made over time. So Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men in the world, because he invests and waits over time. Okay, and especially in this generation, in this society right now, we're in a microwave society, we want things really quickly. A big lesson I learned was that looking at things in decades rather than years is something that really helped me kind of find patience, number one, and plan long term. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to make money quickly, but it means that in thinking long term, you're actually securing yourself in the long run rather than now. Because what I've realized also is that what comes quick also goes really quickly. So I've had times where I've done like little things to get money quickly, and it's also gone really quickly. So my advice would be to think in decades. I mean, I'm still super young, but that's something that I'm trying to do, to think more long term, but it's something that I didn't have to do.
Before everyone starts to pack up, can we just sort of draw it to a close and say a massive thank you to Frederick Afrifa for all his wisdom, and can we also encourage you just to give some feedback using the QR code before you all pack your bags and flee. So thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. So if you guys want to ever get in touch, if you have any more questions that maybe you're too shy to ask, just feel free to reach out anytime. Just type my name in on Google, Instagram. I always reply to messages. So if you have any questions regarding to anything, I'll be more than happy to assist and help you guys, all right? Wish you the best. Thank you so much. They do. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, where are we gonna go? I'll see you distracted around, and then yeah, I gotta go back. I got a class tonight, possibly speaking. Yeah.
How often would I?